Hi, hello, welcome back to Body-Based Therapy with me, Devraj. And today I'm going to start by talking a little bit about a thing called Vegetotherapy, which is a slightly unwieldy and weird sounding word. But Vegetotherapy was what Wilhelm Reich originally called his therapeutic practice, that he developed from the 1920s onwards, working in Vienna, Austria, and that formed the basis of his books such as Character Analysis or The Function of the Orgasm, two of his most famous therapeutic books. And although it's not very popular these days, about 100 years ago, this idea of human beings having a vegetative side was very much in vogue. And so vegetotherapy was what Reich called his therapeutic practice, which basically consisted of, getting certain breathing styles going using the abdomen and the chest, and using certain tension exercises to work what he perceived as rings of armour, such as around the forehead, the ocular ring around the eyes, around the mouth, cervical ring, chest, and this kind of thing. And what he was doing was working on really the physical body without really getting too engaged with the mind. I mean, it did have psychotherapeutic components, but the core was you were really working with the body, with armour rings, using breath and tension exercises together. And at some point, big holding patterns or dead zones from your body would start to move, and your body would become more natural, your experience of energy in your body would become more natural and flowing, and you would just feel like a more natural human being than you had before. And today we're going to look at an exercise drawn from vegetotherapy and adapted a bit by me, which can really help to loosen up a lot of tension around the pelvis and particularly the lower back area. This exercise has been called Pelvic Rolling before by some commentators like Francis Rigardi or Jack Willis. And I'm going to show you a slightly modified version of it today. So I'm going to get down on the mat and I'll show you clearly what it looks like. Okay, so I'm lying on the mat in the classic Reichian position. And that means I've got my feet, soles of my feet planted on the mat. It's like a comfy distance between my heels and my ass. And my heels are also about hip width apart. My knees are up. And I have my eyes open, the back of my head on the mat and looking straight ahead, arms relaxed by my side. And to begin this exercise, what I'm going to do is to start with abdominal breathing, which means I'm going to relax my throat and have my mouth very slightly open so it can just act as a kind of channel through which air can come in and out. And then I'm going to breathe by using my abdomen. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll have seen this before. I balloon my belly out, so I'm physically pushing my belly up, particularly the lower part of the abdomen. And as that draws the lungs down, air will come in if my throat is relaxed. And then I relax the belly and compress it very slightly to create an exhale. So I'm using the abdominal muscles to draw my lungs down and then allow them to come back up. It looks like this. So my throat is relaxed, my mouth is slightly open, air can just be drawn in and out by the movements of the abdomen. And if I was doing this exercise properly, I would do this for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to begin, to really get this belly breathing established. And then once I've got this belly breathing established and I feel like I'm in a groove with it, I'm going to begin the pelvic rolling technique, which has 3 stages. The first stage is a normal inhale with the abdomen. Once I'm fully inhaled, as I begin to exhale, I'm going to push from my legs to let my pelvis roll up very slightly. It's a very subtle movement, ideally without compressing or creating tension in my abdomen as I begin to exhale. So what happens is my lower back stays on the mat and my tailbone has come about 1 inch off the mat, 2 or 3 centimeters. Let's just look at those 2 stages again. So inhale, and then exhale. I'm pushing from my legs, not contracting my abdomen as I exhale. And then in this second stage, I'm also going to add a sound, a long extended R sound. So let's look at that bit. Inhale. Ah. And exhaling with that sound until I'm completely empty and compress a little bit. And then the third stage, holding my breath, I roll the pelvis back down to the start position. And then to increase the effect of this exercise, as I begin my exhale with the R sound, I'm going to feel into my lower back. So you can't see that, but let's look at it all together. So those are the 3 stages, and it follows the breathing. We have an inhale, we have the exhale, and then we hold the breath, ideally without closing too much at the throat, as we roll the pelvis back to the start position and begin again. And by feeling into your lower back as you exhale, over time you'll begin to notice sensations of heat or energy in this lower part of your body, and this is very healthy. Now you need to do this exercise for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, 10 minutes minimum. And make sure you begin with several minutes of just the belly breathing on its own, so you get really in tune to that. Don't rush in. And then begin with this pelvic rolling exercise, feeling your lower back with this extended R sound. And just stick with that for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Feel free to put a piece of music on. If you do use a piece of music, make sure it's nice and gentle, ambient, oceanic music, and that it doesn't have voice in it. Because you don't want to do, you don't want lyrics to start to engage your mind. You want to try and remain feeling your lower back on the exhale to try and develop energy there. So that's our exercise for today, and it's a very powerful exercise to start to create energy in your pelvis. And as you begin to get more feeling in your lower back, you'll notice that your mind can start to relax more. Very often our mind is thinking so much because it's compensating for the fact that we don't feel areas of our body. Okay, cool. I hope you find this exercise useful. If you're intrigued by this kind of work and you notice it's doing you good, then do check out my website, bioenergetics.org.uk, where there are courses on bioenergetics and Reiki and breathwork. Okay, thank you for tuning in, and I'll speak to you guys later.